You finish a full meal. You are genuinely, completely full. Your stomach is stretched. Your body is sending every signal it has that says, stop eating. And then someone puts a slice of chocolate cake in front of you, and somehow, impossibly, there is still room. Not because you're undisciplined, not because you have no willpower, because deep in your brain, underneath every modern thought you have, there is a 200,000-year-old voice that just lit up like a switchboard. And that voice does not care that you're full. It never has. It was never built to. So here's the real question, the one that should actually bother you tonight when you're standing in front of the fridge at 11 p.m. for the third time. Why does something as simple as sugar have this much power over you? Why can dessert override a signal as basic and as loud as I am full? The answer isn't weakness. The answer is older than agriculture, older than fire, older than language itself. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a candy bar the same way again. Let's start with an experiment that sounds almost too simple to matter, except it explains almost everything that comes after it. Researchers have tested infants who are only hours old before they've eaten a single solid meal, before anyone has ever had the chance to teach them what food even is, by placing tiny drops of different flavors directly onto their tongues and simply watching what happens. Bitter, and the baby's face twists into open, unmistakable rejection. Nose scrunched, mouth pulled tight. Sour, and they flinch, sometimes with a small, full-body shudder. But sweet, and something remarkable happens almost instantly. The whole face relaxes. The brow softens. Sometimes there's even the faint ghost of a smile, the earliest one that infant has ever produced. Nobody taught that baby to love sugar. Nobody could have. Not in the few hours it had been alive. That response was already installed, fully wired, fully operational before their very first breath outside the womb. Which raises an obvious, slightly unsettling question. If a taste preference this specific shows up before you've even had a single chance to learn anything at all, where does it actually come from? To answer that, you have to go back millions of years, long before humans existed at all, to the ancestors we share with modern apes, living in a world where food was not sitting on a shelf waiting for you. It was hiding. It was seasonal. It was, more often than not, a piece of fruit hanging in a tree. And here's the detail that changes everything. Ripe fruit is sweet. Unripe fruit is not. An animal that could taste the difference between the two got a massive advantage. More sugar, more calories, more usable energy packed into every single bite. An animal that couldn't tell the difference wasted precious time and energy eating fruit that hadn't finished developing yet. Over countless generations, evolution did what it always does. It rewarded the individuals who could detect sweetness fastest and craved it hardest, and it let everyone else fall quietly behind. So picture life before supermarkets, before agriculture, before any guaranteed source of food existed at all. Calories were not a health statistic you tracked. They were survival, full stop, and they were desperately hard to come by. Harvard evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman has put it bluntly. Sugar, he says, is a deep, deep, ancient craving, and he means that almost literally. Imagine, for a moment, being an early human who simply didn't like sugar. Fruit tastes unremarkable to you. Honey holds no particular appeal. You walk right past the exact foods that could have kept you and your children alive through a lean season, because your brain never told you they mattered. That person existed. Evolution just made sure they didn't stick around in the gene pool for very long. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups like the Hadza in Tanzania still see this instinct playing out today. Honey, not meat, is their single most prized food because it is the most concentrated, most reliable source of pure energy available anywhere in their entire environment. Here's where it gets even more specific and honestly a little sneaky. Sugar doesn't just taste good. It hijacks your actual brain chemistry in a way most people never stop to think about. The moment sweetness hits your tongue, your brain releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter tied to some of the most powerful reward circuits your body has. The same chemical involved in some of the most compelling addictive experiences a human brain can have. That dopamine hit isn't an accident or a pleasant side effect tacked on for no reason. It's the entire point. It is evolution's way of writing a note directly onto your memory in permanent ink that says, remember this. Whatever you just did, do it again as soon as you possibly can. And it goes deeper than just pleasure and memory. Researchers studying fructose specifically, one of the two simple sugars your body breaks table sugar into, have found it actually triggers biological processes that encourage your body to hang on to fat rather than burn through it. In a world of inconsistent meals, genuine famine, and long, unpredictable gaps between food sources, that wasn't a flaw at all. That was a brilliant, elegant survival advantage. A body that stored fat efficiently after a rare sugar windfall was a body built to survive whatever drought in food came next, whenever that inevitably arrived. So why does this ancient system, built with such obvious care, now feel like it's actively working against you? Because the environment changed almost overnight, and the instinct never got the memo. For nearly the entire span of human existence, sugar was rare, seasonal, and required real effort to find. Now it's engineered, concentrated, and stacked on shelves in unlimited supply, available at any hour, no hunting required, no season to wait for. Modern food companies did not invent your sweet tooth. They simply found it, studied it in extraordinary detail, and built an entire industry around triggering it as precisely and as often as physically possible. Every dessert designed to be moreish. Every product engineered to hit what food scientists literally call the bliss point, the exact concentration of sugar that maximizes craving without tipping into being too sweet to finish. That's not an accident. That's your 200,000-year-old reward system being reverse engineered against you by people who read the manual just as closely as the researchers did. So, can you actually outsmart a brain this old, wired this deeply by someone who never had a say in the wiring? Here's the honest, slightly complicated answer. Not by fighting it head-on through sheer willpower alone, because willpower is a finite, exhausting resource, and your ancient reward system does not get tired the way your willpower does. But understanding is different from fighting. The instant you recognize that overwhelming pull toward dessert for exactly what it is, not a personal failure, not a character flaw, but a 200,000-year-old survival mechanism firing in a world it was never designed for, something shifts. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And start asking, what is this old system actually responding to right now? That single reframe is often enough to create just a little bit of space, a pause, a moment where you get to choose instead of just react. Because here's the strange, almost beautiful truth underneath all of this. That craving you feel standing in front of the fridge at 11 p.m., completely full, completely aware you don't need it, isn't proof that you're broken, weak, or lacking some discipline everyone else apparently has. It's proof that somewhere deep in your biology, a system built with extraordinary care to keep your ancestors alive through famine, scarcity, and genuine life-threatening hardship is still faithfully doing its exact job, exactly as designed, just aimed at a world that doesn't need it anymore. You didn't fail evolution. Evolution just never got the chance to meet a world with a drive-thru in it. And now that you know that, the next time you reach for something sweet, you get to decide, consciously, deliberately, for maybe the first time in your life, whether you're simply answering a 200,000-year-old voice, or finally, quietly, calmly, talking back to it instead.